What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today when I talk to you on Rivian, I want to go over some of the data points, what's been coming out from the company, and ultimately why I feel a breakout is this close. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So Rivian did close 0.13% in the green, and that was a very good miracle because the broader market did go through a very scary sell-off, very first thing. So it did have $22.23 as far as the low, but when it comes down to Rivian, the dip has been bought up many times over the last week. So definitely a lot of good buyers in the market. And based on the volume, 22.95 million shares being traded, 26.94 is the average. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market over $100,000. So there was a couple big ones, more notably this one at the very beginning of the day. So 2.63 million. These are some of the transactions that did occur on the dark pool, which was very popular today, and also some pretty big transactions. So 1.03 million, 2.57 million, 5.09. So a lot of good transactions. When it comes down to dark pool, it's linked to shorting, so I'll give you an overview of that. But at the time of doing this video, there was no SEC filings, no press releases, nothing like that. It's just been following the broader market. This kind of news did come out unofficially though on how Rivian's CEO is ultimately talking on the Cybertruck and how he does not see it as a threat. And this literally in this kind of sentence right here, and plus as well going on exactly what he does say, like this is exactly why I like Rivian, because even though some people are talking on saying that they have so much debt and just they're burning so much cash, like you cannot kind of argue the fact that there is a huge amount of demand for their vehicles. And plus they know that and they're very confident to say that. So yeah, I think generally speaking, Rivian is on the trajectory to take on Tesla in the coming years. Whether it happens maybe 4 years, 5 years down the line, Rivian is doing everything right in my own opinion. And plus their cash burn rate has been improving every single quarter. So I think that's definitely moving in the right direction as well. And when it comes down to analysts, they also do like Rivian. So there was an analyst rating that did come out yesterday, and that was Ben Callow, who does have a 46% success rating, and he is from Robert Baird, who gave a $30 price target. So despite the kind of iffiness and the fear in the market, clearly a lot of people still do like Rivian, largely like I mentioned because of the whole demand. Regardless of everything else that's happening in the market, if there's a demand for your product, you are going to be able to easily sell it. So I think Rivian's definitely going to have a lot of good things. And when it comes down to analyst forecast, because this week is the last week for Q3, it does look like an analyst recently did get in for this upcoming Q3 earnings, and they were a little bit more optimistic. So as far as earnings, people care about earnings per share, revenue, and future guidance. So quickly looking under earnings per share, it was previously 14, now it is 15 analysts with a consensus of negative $1.32, whereas it was $1.34. So like I said, an analyst recently did jump on board and was fairly optimistic. Similarly for this as well, there was another analyst that did jump on board, but it was more so in line with the previous estimate, so it didn't really change. So it still was 1.31 billion for the revenue for Q3. So I'll keep on monitoring as far as what analysts do here. If you are looking for a lot of good compiled information such as this, whether it be analyst ratings, forecasts, many reports, short report, everything that you need to know, take a look at Interactive Brokers. All of this information is free, link in the description below and also the comments. But quickly moving on, as far as options activity, today there was $4.66 million in calls being purchased versus 2.36 million in puts. So based on this information, clearly people are anticipating for it to break out, at least into the next kind of range bound I'm going to touch on when I go over the technicals. But if you are optimistic, it is anticipated to be roughly between the around $23 to $24 mark by the end of this Friday. And as far as if you are bearish, it is anticipated to be between roughly around the 22 to 22.50 range. So I do feel that a lot more people see upside rather than downside with Rivian. And like I mentioned, a lot of activity on the dark pool. I'll give you an overview of what shorts did today. And as I always say, I'm not here to say Rivian's going to be a squeeze by any means, but I'm just using this as a benchmark. But short score is currently 58, utilization is 27.31%. And as far as what shorts did today, they did increase 268.52 thousand shares, 13.67% of the free float is being shorted, and 90.42 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow is going up a little bit, so 0.93%. And so when it comes down to Rivian, it does show as well that there is a lot of shares available to be shorted. So the way I interpret this data, with them increasing such a small amount, take that with a grain of salt, of course, 268 being small, but relatively in comparison to the 90.42 million, it is a drop in the bucket. So I do feel that they also do see more upside coming with Rivian. If not, they would be doubling down, because currently there is more than 10 million shares available to be shorted, and that is through Interactive Brokers short availability right here. So I do feel that a lot of the data points are very optimistic. Now let's talk on some of the technicals. With it closing at 23.08, it is between this S1 and the pivot. So $23.28 is that next strong resistance, which coincidentally, it kind of bounced off of that a little bit. So 23.24 was the high for today. So I feel like everything that I've been talking on is very bullish, and it's just been pushing it as high as it can to the resistance for tomorrow just to easily break past, because tomorrow there is PCE coming out very first thing. And I feel like if that is positive, which based on the forecast it is supposed to be, then yes, the market will definitely drive Rivian significantly higher and potentially touch around the 2640 range. At least this is short-term stuff. Like I always say, when it comes down to long-term Rivian, this is where you're going to make a substantial amount of money, because with everything that they've been doing over the last little bit, just building the very good foundation for a very successful business, like that is where you're going to be, the stock price will go up significantly. So whether you buy it at, let's say 23 or 20 years from now, you're not really going to care, in my own opinion, financial advisor, of course. So in the short term, I do feel that it can easily get to around this R1, so the 2640, but that's just my own opinion. So like I said, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. What is your take, for instance, on Rivian's CEO being so confident against the Cybertruck? Do you think that they are actually kind of direct competition to one another, or do you think it's more so Ford? What's your take on that? And as far as just the technicals, do you think that it's going to get to around the 26 range, or what's your take? Or just better question, what are you doing? Are you buying, selling, holding? What's your kind of viewpoint on all this? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, a couple days left. Take advantage of this promo with Moomoo, link in the description below and also the comments. This is only up until September the 30th, but just sign up for an account, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, so this is one of the best deals on the market. Link in the description below and also the comments. With that said, I appreciate all of you watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Rivian.